We've been talking about winners and losers in the pandemic, and this next company, it was kind of unclear which one it was going to be, a loser or a winner. Where would Airbnb land? This company was hit very hard in the spring, had its valuation basically slashed in half when it had to raise money, but now things seem to be looking up. Let's bring in Melody Hahm to talk about Airbnb and the IPO. I mean, what a turn of events, Melody. If you go
Yeah, and
back, it's crazy. Like I was reading some Brian Chesky emails and the layoffs that they had to have and raising money. And here they are. It seems to be pretty good, right?
yeah, and to your point on winning and losing, so much of that is relative. It depends on what the slate and portfolio of other businesses looks like. In this case in particular, Airbnb has clearly fared better than the hospitality industry at large. I think it's particularly timely because we did see an updated filing from Chesky and Co. with the SEC today as they prep for their IPO. They're set to actually list their pricing on December 9th, and then the stock should be trading on the NASDAQ on December 10th. Jen, it's fascinating because overall, I would say it is a net winner because if you look at the latest valuation based on the numbers that we've crunched today, they're planning to sell 51.9 million shares. That's 50 million new shares plus the 1.9 million from existing shareholders. And they're looking at pricing shares between $44 and $50. That could value the company at up to $35 billion. To your point, that is double what we saw earlier this year and a little, maybe $4 billion more than the last round of funding that it had raised during the period of exuberance, right, in 2017. We know Chesky, Joe Gebbia, Nate Blacharczyk, the co-founders, will get filthy rich. They are planning to sell about $100 million worth of shares just among the three of them. And we know among the VCs, Sequoia Capital, Founders Fund, DST Global will also be getting a handsome profit through all of this. They did surprise a lot of investors with a profitable third quarter, as we recall, after suffering through a sluggish first couple of quarters this year because of the pandemic. But I think investors are feeling particularly bullish right now as we head into what is the capping, right, of perhaps the busiest year for IPOs in US history.
Nothing wrong with filthy rich, right, Melody? I am curious, though, in their filings and their documents, are we getting any indication from the company, and hopefully once they're public, we will, about future bookings? And I ask this because there's pent-up demand for people to travel, and I already know that people are booking summer vacations. So have they hinted at what kind of occupancy could be coming their way as coronavirus goes even further into the back?
Yeah, Adam, I'm glad you mentioned that because specifically the idea and concept of remote work has been mentioned at least a handful of times in this S1, specifically referencing this pent-up demand that you're suggesting. It's both a potential headwind in the future, but also a risk factor that they lay out, saying all of this sort of exuberance that we've seen, and because people are not able to take international flights, people aren't able to go on their wanderlust travel list, bucket list, right, during this period of time, they've sort of opted for these closer stays, for these road trips that are perhaps 100 miles away. So that's one of the risk factors, saying this may not continue, but at the same time, the whole conceit, right, the pitch to investors is after this sort of very tumultuous year where people have been cooped up, this will be definitely a reason to be particularly bullish on this company going forward.
I have to say, I keep just looking at stuff, even though I'm not booking. I don't know what that means. All right, Melody Hahm, great to see you. Thanks for talking about Airbnb.